Greetings, all praise the King. Welcome to Eyewitness, an eye with an eye, an unscripted source where we reason to discover truth, supporting the struggle for international justice. Speaking about education. Education is the process of learning. We are developing mental skills. Or brain power, let's say. And the idea is to advance somebody or civilizations. The idea was never to make people, more ignorant, or otherwise known as dumbed down, but rather to teach people something that people are able to retain. That means that it's based on memory. However good somebody's memory is however they're going to be able to retain the information that they learn. But what is to be considered overall is the source. Where are they learning it from? Is it coming from a book? And if so, who's the author? And is the author the actual person that wrote the book? Or is that just the person's name that appears on the book? Even if you have multiple authors, like sometimes they use professors who write concordance on the Bible. Did those professors actually do the writing? Or was it the students that worked underneath them? So these are questions that people should ask. Now, we'll put a question mark here because this is really the origin of learning. Is asking. Ask yourself, what's going on? What's going on around me? Would you like to know? That's going to be your motivation. It's a kind of self quest. You're looking to know. Of course, knowledge is the result of education, or at least it's supposed to. And maybe in every case it might be the result, but in many cases this is bad knowledge, not good knowledge. Babylon refers to disinformation now. So if you're learning material that's not good, it's inaccurate, then perhaps it will go against you. Now, we're not necessarily saying that that's really everything about what goes on. However, there is a limited scope about what it is that people learn. So people go into the classrooms, what they call academics, and they learn what they call the curriculum. This has an attachment. It's an agenda. It's been designed through hierarchy of some sort. They call bureaucracy. And they're going to push this material onto the children. Now, in this system where people are forced to actually go into these classes, in most every case, with some laws, some states or whatever have an exception. But the children are going to be forced to learn whatever it is that they're shown in those classrooms. So this is called education. Now this is what they call formal education, as opposed to informal. which obviously doesn't sound very educated. You know, foremost is the more assertive term. And people are based you know, in life based on, you know, how educated they are in certain circumstances. Of course, people can, you know, work their way up companies, or, you know, maybe they have a connection. But really, you know, we've noticed that a lot of the people that have done successfully in terms of generating substantial income have been people that have been less formally educated, and just more people that just use their brain power and their muscles to achieve what it is that they sought after. Now, they probably, you know, nod at each other's feet along the way. But that's the life they chose. Now, you know, most people are conditioned to thinking that the higher education that they achieve, that the life would be more cushy. And therefore, you know, the idea is to go to college, and, you know, then you get a good job. You're a boss over other people, and that usually is the case. But however, are these people actually more educated than, for example, the people that are over? Or is it that they've been trained for a specific task to fit into this class structure? Yeah, that they have more authority to perform simply because they've been given the role over those that are underneath them. They could be more educated. So what is education, you know? You know, is it broad? Are you learning in kind of an overall scope of what's happening? Or is it narrow? Are you just learning what it says in this one book? Yeah, you go to you have a class, and they give you a book, right? And you're supposed to go buy it or whatever. And we used to put the cardboard book covers on it, and that's your book for the whole year. You got one book. So out of all the books, out of everything that you can learn, it's really one book reflective. Or is it biased? Is it just one narrow point of view? Does it have one author to it? Maybe 5, 10? But out of all the people in the world, is that really a lot? Now, you got to wonder what the motivation was of those people to write the books, and so on and so forth. The other thing is, are books really that instructive? You know, if you had read every book on the planet and memorized it, every book, would you really, like, know everything? No. It's only humans that write books. And like we've stated, that there are motivations, the agenda. Sometimes it's just to make money. You know, but a lot of these professors have been told through that institution somehow that they've been chosen. Oh, we selected you, you know, you won an award, and now we've got you. Your name will be attached to this authorship. You know, it's for prestige. They're looking to move up, to get their name out, to be popular. So, you know, a lot of like people that are not very educated, which would another word would be ignorant, although that sounds pretty polite. We could also use the word simple. And these kinds of people actually, if they invest so much time into reading a book, oh man, especially if they buy the thing, right? They're gonna want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that hasn't read very many books in their life, if they read a book, you know, it's like all they got. You know what I mean? So it's doubtful that the person's gonna question what it is that they're reading. You know, the Babylon realizes this. Now they have their devices that they're reaching people. You know, it's no longer paper books. They can reach people on their phone, and they're feeding them this information. Now, because of these devices, people's attention spans got lower. So these people don't even have time to read a whole book, or so they think. They can't concentrate long enough to read a whole book. So basically, they're giving them information that's just like real short and quick. But nevertheless, this is actual information that people are retaining. This becomes their education. You know, what it is that these kids are seeing or learning in school is being overwhelmed by what it is that they're seeing on their devices. So all of it is like a form of something. Like they're getting something. You know, whether it's good, whether it's bad. Now, it's up to us to discern what it is that we're seeing. But the institutional, so-called formal education, is making that process of this kind of internal discernment almost like non-existent within the up-and-coming generation, so they're able to really see for themselves, because they're getting overwhelmed with too much. Overwhelmed with too much, they're going to shut down. See? So it takes for real thinking people to see past, you know, this deception that we've been given. It's all a form of witchcraft. Let's get real. What they're looking to do is to deceive people into thinking they know something. You know what I'm saying? All it takes for people to do is just to think for themselves. You start to think for yourself, you start to see what's going on. It really doesn't have much to do with, you know what I mean, where you were born or where you came from and what school you went to. You know, it just takes for you to think. That's it. But if you're listening to something else, you're not doing the thinking. I mean, you can see how the world runs. Now, once people like buy into this, which a lot of people do, you know, you know, basically what they bought into is the corporate model. This word corporate kind of played out, but you know, it is a business thing. You've got companies, you've got, you know, large companies, you've got smaller companies, but they've gotten together and they formed associations and stuff, and they affect what curriculum is being shown to the children because they know it's going to benefit them. Just like the whole transgender thing. It's because these people become good laborers because these companies realize all they got to do is accept them. You know? And therefore, boom, these people like, they're willing it becomes their God, it's their parent, you know, oh, I've got to please this body. And so those transgender people doing that, it's only temporary. You see, it doesn't last very long. But right now it's working. You know, if somebody's going to do that, they're not right. And so therefore, you know, you can expect them to be servant to your gods. And Babylon has used this now. They formed, you know, these associations that affect what it is that people are studying, so that they become productive workers. And Even if you look at the sports, how the teams are designed, example in football, whatever, and you've got the coach. The coach is the manager, you know, the team is the company. And it's a training process. To develop people's minds to become productive, efficient laborers. So, when you go into the class and you are being compared with the report card to those around you, your so-called peers, what they're doing is they're screening to develop profiles. We spoke about these profiles. Nowadays with the device and how they're taking everyone's information, they would like your phone number. If you don't give it to them, they act like you're a criminal. They're taking your device. They're obsessed with collecting everything, every behavior, every move, everything about what people do. It's ridiculous to think, oh, you're going to make a YouTube video, oh, everybody's going to see it. You know? I mean, come on, this is the world we in, you know? Babylon wanted to know what you're about. All right. So what they're doing is they're going to eliminate certain people that are not going to be productive workers. You know how we always got the instructions. Read the instructions. It's all about somebody saying, do something. And in the end, somebody is banking on getting rich from your labor.